Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Hey Sister. Hey sister, how you doing?
Hey sister, I'm doing good. Just a little tired. Had a wonderful weekend celebrating homecoming at the Southern University and A&M College in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Oh,
So I'm
girl, listen, I saw you doing that to me a dance. I saw you in all the background. I said, look, that's my sister back there in that video. Where's she coming from?
a
Saw you
few.
all on the interwebs, girl.
Well, sometimes you got to
Mm.
jump in there.
Yes, absolutely. Hey Jody, thank you for tuning in tonight. Yeah, her voice a little. She got a little. She might need a little lemon and honey on that voice.
It's just because the weather here is changing. It was hot as the dickens yesterday afternoon, and then this morning it's been nice and cool and breezy, and so it's just temperature changing. Hotel rooms, they get stuffy and they have poor ventilation, all of those things. So it actually wasn't from screaming or anything like that. I was
Okay. Well, we hope you got a few shouts in. Uh,
got a lot of good hugs and that was wonderful.
Fantastic. Well, if you are tuning in live tonight to Hey Sister, we want to thank you for joining us. We want you to like, follow, share, subscribe, let somebody know about Hey Sister. Catch us on all of our social handles. They're up there in the corner there for you to see. We also want you to join the conversation in the comments because you are as much as a part of this show as anyone is a part of this show. Girl, she said your lips is popping though. Hi.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Mhm. Well, tonight, we're gonna talk. We got a lot of things to talk about. We're gonna get to the more silly stuff at the latter part because I find it all very silly. It's exhausting. But we're gonna talk about some more sobering topics at the top of the show. And the first one is one of our icons from our growing up, Chrissy on Three's Company, one Miss Suzanne Summers, who known for her Thigh Master, and she was one of the first women who were talking about bioidentical hormones and kind of navigating menopause and andropause for men and supplementation and doing a lot of different things so that we could live fully as we mature. And she was one of the first women who were really doing that. She had a long battle with breast cancer that she, again, did a lot of naturopathic um, remedies and as well. And so she passed away today. Um, and as I was reading one of the stories, it was saying her birthday is tomorrow. Her 77th birthday is tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
And so her family was there gathered for her birthday, and they turned out to be there for the celebration of her life and that transition. And I don't know. I love Three's Company. And trust me, I love a caftan like Miss Roper would wear, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. What do you remember, Christina, about Three's Company and Chrissy?
Well, first her name was Chrissy. So that was my nickname. That is my nickname. For people who know me, family members especially. Um, you know, um, it was interesting over the years because remembering her own Three's Company with Jack and I can't remember the other roommate name, but
Joyce
the
DeWitt plays Janet.
Janet, yes, which is so interesting. They have Jack and Janet. Anyway, but just remembering her being, for lack of better words, the clueless kind of blonde or what have you, and then years later recognizing that she was actually like a really smart woman. While I may not have agreed with her approach to everything medically, I do, what I appreciated the most is that to the point that you made, she did not just rely solely on Western medicine, or modern uh, medical remedies for her own health. And I think that's very important. At the end of the day, you know, you always talk about being an advocate for yourself, and I would definitely say she was an advocate for herself. She made some statements that people found to be very controversial, but at
Mhm.
the end of the day, I never felt like she backpedaled or moved away from what she
Mhm.
believed in. So it showed that this woman was sort of the complete antithesis to what her character was on
Mhm.
Three's Company. But she was a rather smart woman, and again an advocate for her own health, and that's something that we all can learn from.
Absolutely. And with this being October and Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I think we do need to once again say that breast cancer is it can be very aggressive. We know many women who have battled the good fight or are continuing in that fight and continuing trying to remain cancer free, and many do for many years like Suzanne did. And so check the health of your breast. Do your exams regularly, get your mammogram. If you have dense breasts, make sure you're getting a 3D mammogram, or you're just going straight to the ultrasound. But do what you need to do to, again, take care of your health, be an advocate for your health. And these are lessons that we could definitely learn from her life. And
Yes.
I think that's very, very important.
I think to
So,
your point about her family being gathered there too, I think that speaks volumes about, you know, I think you and I recently had a conversation and you said something about the people who, um, a lot of times our loved ones hold on
mhm.
for the people that I guess need the
That's
most.
one of my line sisters said. She taught what her mother said. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that well, I mean, yeah, if you want to repeat the exact phrase,
Basically, she said people hold on for for the people who need they need to say goodbye to, basically
right.
the people who need them. Everybody who they know is already okay, they good with, but those people who they need to tell something, say something, they need to let them know something, they usually hold on for those people.
So I think it's amazing that everybody gathered for her birthday, and you know, she passed a day shy of her birthday, but all the people who needed to obviously have some conversation, some relationship, some final goodbyes or what have you with her, they were there. So I think that that's it's a beautiful thing. I also think, and I know this may be weird, but um I've always said, and this is it will sound crazy. I'm gonna just put that out there, but I've always said that I want to pass away on the same day I was born, so people don't have to mourn me more than one time. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm,
I know that might sound weird, but it feels to me like if you are mourning my loss and celebrating my existence at the same time, maybe it helps balance the emotions a little bit better. I don't know. So
mm.
but rest in peace to her.
Rest in peace, Suzanne Summer. The next topic we're going to talk about a little bit, and we're not going to dive like way too deep in it, but we didn't get into it last week, but we have to say something about it this week, and that is what's happening in the Israel and Palestine conflict. We have it named here. Some will say it's Israel war against Hamas. Um, Whatever you say it, it's a sad and tragic situation. However you describe it, however you define it, whatever your beliefs are, whatever you think and or feel, um, it's all valid. All of your thoughts are valid. All of your feelings are valid, because this is been going on. It has preceded us in our lifetime, and it probably will go on past us in our lifetime. And so for me, the only way I've been able to keep my sanity as many of these conflicts around the world continue to go on is to remind myself that there's historical context. When we as a country were in Afghanistan for over 20 years and then finally withdrew, and then how all that just devolved, had to remind myself there was historical context for that as well. As they say in the Bible, there is nothing new under the sun. So if you are looking for clues, hints, and I'm not talking about dogma because see that's where we get tripped up. We get tripped up on the dogma. We get tripped up on my side versus your side and all that stuff. I'm on the side of humanity. I'm on the side of humanity. I'm on the side of human dignity. I'm on the side of respect. And none of this current situation today is reflective of humanity, of human dignity, or respect.
Mhm.
And you and I, we profess to be Christians. So the people who are in these conflict don't profess Christianity. But what I know, and I posted on someone's a comment on someone's social media today because they talked about, how black Christians are justifying what's happening here and taking the side of Israel at the and saying, do you know how they use the Bible to justify slavery and what have you? And I was, you know, as a Christian, what I know the Jesus that I read about and study about, what that Jesus represented and stood for was to love one another, let judgment be for judgment day, and to support, care, and show compassion for your fellow man. That's what the Jesus Christ that I read about and study about in the life and all of the parables. That's what his message was. So, as someone who professes Christ and Christianity, that's how I operate. Why don't we leave each other the hell alone and let each other live our lives and pursue lives of dignity, lives of respect, lives of wholeness and happiness? Let's show support, compassion, and love and care for the least of these, and allow judgment to be for judgment day. Because if I believe in the wrong thing, then that judgment gonna come to me at some point in time or another. Period, point blank. But that ain't for you to decide. Now, as it relates to this conflict specifically, a lot of people being tripping. Do you denounce the violence? Do you do this? All of this stuff. None like killing people is bad, regardless. It don't matter what side you on. Because innocent people are always traumatized. This is no different than a drive-by shooting where a whole bunch of innocent people get killed. People are losing their lives for what? 1,000-year-old battle over what's is my land? I'm of like the Native American mind. The land don't belong to none of us. But again, I said a whole lot, sister. I'll toss it to you because I could go on and on about this.
No, I mean, at the very end of the day, for me specifically, it is there are, as we were discussing in the pre-show, when you talk about government, when you talk about political leaders, when you talk about policies and decisions that are being made, those things are being made by people on all sides, and the people that are making certain decisions, unfortunately, while they may think that they're doing the right thing, very often their choices and decisions impact people who had absolutely nothing to do with whatever is at the root of the cause, or the root cause of the situation. And that's when you see innocent Palestinian families, innocent Israeli families who are being hurt, who are being maimed, who are being left homeless, who are being killed. You see innocent lives on both sides. And at the end of the day, in every war that has been fought over land, over resources, um, you have to ask yourself, was it worth it?
Mm-hmm.
Was it worth it? And this has been an ongoing battle. Yes, it like you said, the state of Israel was created in 1948, but uh, if you are
So less than 80 years.
right, and if you are a biblical scholar, whether or not you believe in Christ or Christianity, if you're a biblical scholar, if you read the Bible, if you read the Torah, if you read the Quran, there is historical precedence, right? And to your point, I think the challenge is that it becomes a question of when do we actually want to learn from history such that we don't continue to repeat it. And maybe, sadly, maybe we don't ever learn from it. Maybe this is when life be life, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
this is a part of the vicious cycle of life where history continues to repeat itself
Mm-hmm.
because we are not in it's not in the plan to learn from it. I don't know.
You know what's so again, so 75 years, that's when the state of Israel was, some governments got together and put that on paper, right? And so we were talking about Suzanne Summers, who just passed away at 76. So when I watch some of this video footage, the majority of the people in these battles were not alive
Hmm.
when that happened. They were not alive after the Ottoman Empire fell. Um, they were not alive 50 years ago, even when the Yom Kippur War happened. Like most of the people out here in these battles were not even alive when some of this stuff happened. Any of this happened. Yet the strong belief, the zealotry, the fierce in the fighting of I am standing for something that really is a belief system that was passed on to me because I didn't know this coming out the womb.
Hmm.
Now, some would say that those who have lived in these 75 years or grew up in some of this 75 years under the oppressiveness of the Israeli government and continue to encroach and encroach and encroach and take land and say, oh, it's ours, that then that is part of what is occurred and that people are fighting back against that. Some would say that um shooting bombs indiscriminately because they got bomb shelters everywhere, shooting bombs indiscriminately over into Israeli homes. Also, people are responding to that, but everybody's responding with more and more violence, and nobody is stopping to say, why are we here, and why do we continue to repeat this cycle? So why are we here and why do we continue to repeat this cycle? And why then do we continue to elect people to represent us or allow people to control us? Because I don't believe that, Hamas has been deemed a terrorist organization. I don't believe that the Palestinian people necessarily want them to be in control, but they've been in control since 2005 because they had one election. So 18 years later, they still in control. I don't think none of the people want that. None of the people want this. So how do humans like stop the insanity and just say, we're going to let each other live and let each other pursue prosperity in the form of prosperity that is meaningful to you and pursue human dignity in a way that's meaningful to you and allow people to live. I don't know.
I don't know. I will just end by or in my opinion, these things, like we always say, our fathers taught us there are no simple answers to complex problems. And this is a complex problem. But I will say, Dr. King said very long time ago that hate does not conquer hate,
That's
basically.
right.
Only love can conquer hate. And I know that that sounds very cliche and naive and idealistic. But the truth of the matter is that violence will only beget more
More
violence.
violence.
It does not, it will not change. And so, um, again, I don't know if this is just the nature of being a human being. I don't know if this is just what was already planned and intended for us as humans, but I do know that a lot of families, a lot of children, a lot of people are going to be deeply impacted because, to your point, a lot of this stuff happened before the people who are doing the actual fighting were even born.
Yeah, absolutely.
The choices and decisions that they make, the bloodlines that they destroy,
Mhm.
the families that end or have ended because of this fighting, that has ripple effect, that has ramification for years and years to come. And I think sometimes we just don't seem to think about that.
Absolutely. There is a show on PBS called World on Fire, and it is about the start of World War II in Europe. And it is about those early days and this season 2 begins tonight, I believe. Let me double check that. Yes, season 2 begins tonight. Going to catch up. But in World on Fire, it it as you watch and you learn about the early days when Germany started their slow walk to take over country after country after country, and people's appeasement or not stopping it early on. Because we gotta, people gotta remind themselves that wasn't the first time that Hitler had tried to come to power, right? And so it was the second time he was successful. So when you watch this and see how, country, okay, first we moved in here to Poland, then we moved into France, and then we moved, and so just the slow move to try to take over the entire continent that was happening. Um, these are repeats.
Mm-hmm.
These are repeats. And so when you see the battle in with Russia and Ukraine, it, they're trying to avoid this. It's about a repeat. And so I really would love for us as a people is to really study history, go back to our history books, go back to these documentaries, pull out these old encyclopedias, look up some of this stuff and see what's happening and juxtapose it to where we are today. Because what I really want to say is, because if you go all the way back, and we dropped the link in about the timeline of between the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, it all has to do with that damn Great Britain. Because the reason why we got an India and a Pakistan is that damn Great Britain. The British messed everybody up, the whole damn continent. So as you said, the ramifications for years and years and years to come. I'm blaming the British. We want to blame somebody. I'm blaming Britain. How about
All right. Well,
that?
hopefully people will go and read up and
Read, study, learn this stuff, man. Because Great Britain is a damn fool, and they been a fool.
all righty.
Now, how about that? I ain't blaming nobody but the British. Do we really want to talk about her?
Well, I wanted to say, just speaking of long term ramifications here in the state of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, who was the former attorney general or is the current attorney general, let me say it like that, has been elected as the next governor of Louisiana, which will give pretty much all power to the Republican Party. He is described in this New York Times article as and I'm gonna
DeSantis light.
They didn't say that. A hardline Republican, but DeSantis light is probably a really good way of putting it. I definitely think we talked a lot, my dad and I, about some of the things that happened. There's a lot of things that happen, and maybe we should find somebody, a political figure to, or somebody who's engaged in government to have some conversations about this. But again, my school's homecoming was this weekend. Grambling State University's homecoming was this weekend, and I've heard a lot of people make comments about that, right? And let's be clear, that probably did not help voter turnout. But that's not why voters didn't turn out. Because as of early voting, and we alluded to this last week, the first day of early voting, 18 to 20-year-old Black people in the state of Louisiana, of 21,000 people who voted on the first day of early voting, 90 were between the ages of 18 and 20, 90, fewer than 100. And so, and then there was a week in which, and yesterday, of course, was election day. I think that it is unfair to just point the finger at Southern University and Grambling State University for having homecomings on election day. Because
LSU had a game too.
LSU had a home game, and the New Orleans Saints played in Houston, Texas, and a lot of people traveled to Houston for the Saints game. So I think it's a little misguided to squarely try to put the blame.
It's lazy.
It's lazy. It's intellectually lazy. It's
It,
all kind of lazy.
yeah. It's
Um,
lazy. It's a lazy argument. And it's intellectually dishonest as well.
right. But what I will say is, a lot of people did not get out to vote. Jeff Landry, I think, won with over 50% of the vote in a very crowded field of multiple Republicans. And I have some issues with the way the Democratic Party in the state of Louisiana handled um, trying it, putting up Sean Wilson and how they supported him. I have some issues with, if they felt like it was going to be a strong issue for voter turnout, then what did you all do to have conversations with the various schools about, maybe y'all want to change this date because this is election day and this is why it's important. But yeah, Jeff Landry, Ron DeSantis, and I'm at the point that I'm like, maybe that's what people want. Maybe people want to be, because he repeatedly sued on behalf of the state of Louisiana, repeatedly sued different entities and what have you, and it all felt very concerted, like a concerted effort to keep his name out there in the zeitgeist. And it was successful. Over 50% of the vote, and voter turnout was abysmal. But again, it's intellectually dishonest and quite lazy to just put it on the fact that Southern University and Grambling State University had homecoming celebrations.
But I think this is also instructive for that there is this movement and this push and this conversation about not voting because they're not like, but people don't understand that those elections, not just the presidential, the state, all of your state government, your state legislatures, your city councils, and your in Louisiana parish or in other states county government, and the people who you're voting for, mayors and stuff like that, they have a direct impact on your quality of life every day.
Yep.
Everyday quality of life, almost instant and immediate impact. And I knew that he had won because one of our high school friends posted, Louisiana, y'all effed us again, because she's a member of the LGBTQ community. And so what does that mean for people who, again, are trying to live their life, ain't bothering nobody, trying to run their small business, live their life, and keep mind their business and just have a decent quality of life, what is it going to mean for them? Because
Well,
as these laws start to turn out,
I don't know that it Louisiana effed up. I think Louisiana did exactly what we
not effed up, f them.
oh F them. Okay.
Yeah,
Because I was
yeah,
gonna say it did exactly what was expected. Because unfortunately we still have a large population of people who think that they will cut their nose off despite their face. They think it's again in a zero sum game. In order for me to win, you gotta lose. So I'm gonna vote for you to lose every day of the week, even though it's probably causing me to lose too.
yeah.
But another topic for another day. Let's go ahead and talk about your little cousin Jada.
Ah,
Because the people is waiting for you to talk about your little cousin Jada. Right.
that's your cousin, girl. That's your cousin. That ain't my cousin. How she get to be my cousin? Mr. and Mrs. Smith. We saw the video when it came out with her book and her getting a book at the house, and they were like, "Oh, look at the book and the cover and blah blah blah." That was last week, but this week she started the book tour,
Yes.
the media tour first, and then she's gonna have her real tour.
Oh, there's more to come. I know she's gonna be on the Today Show tomorrow morning. So there's more to come. Got it.
Girl, let me see. Girl, listen, Our Worthy Journey, honey. There is a whole, you can order the book. She got a whole page. Let's see. So she's gonna be on it, but the New York is the first stop. It's gonna be kind of like how Michelle did. She's gonna be in New York on the
No,
16th.
don't. We're not doing that.
Oh,
Mm,
no comparison. Girl,
no,
she even gonna bring her foolishness to Abu Dhabi on November 5th. Okay.
because I'm sure that
She gonna be in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. She bringing the foolishness there November 5th and November 7th, honey. Yes, ma'am. How about that? She gonna be in Atlanta on October 23rd. Mm-mm-mm. Y'all can go get tickets and go and see her tour. I'm gonna drop it in there so y'all could take a look and see. Y'all might want to go catch that book tour. Jody says if toxic was a person. Okay, so if you haven't heard and you've been under the rock, one Miss Jada Pinkett Smith has written a book, and some of the revelations that she started to drop around the book. The first revelation being that her and Mr. Will Smith have lived separate lives since 2016. They're not divorced and they're not divorcing, which we've already knew that because they told us on the Red Table Talk that it was going to be bad marriage for life and that they was done with each other. So we got that part of the story. Then we got her and Tupac and let me tell you something. If that girl bring up Tupac name one more time. See, Tupac ain't here to defend himself.
right.
Tupac ain't here to say, God, we wasn't that like no, we was not soulmates. Like all of this, he was her soulmate in the Matrix. Like maybe he was. I think she took that blue pill in the Matrix. I think she really did, and I think that's where she caught up, and that's where she living her life. Now, honey, I know we all want to be worthy and feel worthy, and we want to share these stories. And we all are entitled to our truth, but sometimes, and listen, we know people. We know people who mama and daddy just lived on different sides of town. But see, they didn't have the luxury to live on a compound. And had whole new families over here and a whole new family over here. But then when the time came and the social security check had to be collected, okay, or the insurance policy, because wife still kept the insurance policy and still collected that social security. We've seen all manners of that. None of this is new. But they just lived their life and did their business. They didn't tell everybody. They and for someone, and as I've watched some of the interviews and the pain and the tears and what I'm seeing, I'm like, do you really feel you are worthy? Because I still see someone who is searching and seeking. That's my opinion. I don't know. What say you, sister?
I say I'm tired. I'm with Amanda Seals tired. Truth is, I'm tired. Um, so number one, I'm going to agree with Akbar from the talk in saying that it feels it for me, my immediate reaction to the we've been separated for umpteen years. My immediate reaction was that felt very convenient. It felt like so this is a way of saying, oh, we weren't together. So, that entanglement that I told you about on part one, you know, that was a reference to
To
confessions.
Usher, we got it.
Um,
Confessions.
um, part one, the girl I was creeping with, sleeping with, yeah, said she's 3 months pregnant, she's keeping it. It's like I feel like that was I'm a throwback in a slick, sly way. I'm gonna throw back to the entanglement and say, oh yeah, we ain't even been together like that. When y'all did the rape table talk and y'all said, like you said, y'all were through with each other and y'all was living on separate sides of the house, but there was no divorce. We're never getting a divorce from each other. So thus and therefore, unless cheating has a new definition. Now, it doesn't mean that y'all don't have agreements, but it's still you cheated, he cheated, I'm sure. Um, and that's y'all business. But that's it. It's y'all business. We have been hearing about y'all being swingers for umpteen years. We have been hearing about y'all being gay for umpteen years. And I guess it makes me wonder because I'm like, it's this weird dichotomy of just because you do something for your job and you get are elevated to a certain status, it doesn't mean you aren't entitled to a level of privacy about your life. But then y'all keep putting stuff out there. So it's like for years and years and years, we were talking about them being the swingers and them being gay and them having all the things
Now
happy.
listen, I had heard back in 1994, 95, 94, 95-ish. I mean,
But
and
none
this
of it, we heard it, but nobody ever came out and confirmed it. There was never
oh,
any.
that's
No,
okay.
they didn't come out and
They
confirm it.
didn't come out and confirm. I just the
Nobody had pictures and was like, "Look, they're right here."
Jada done did had them all.
But they,
Man, woman, and child, because that's what August Alsina was. How about that?
they didn't come out and confirm it.
I
So
guess not.
now, my question is, honestly, do y'all want to sell books or do y'all want to heal? That is my
Ooh.
question. Do you want to sell books or do you want to heal?
Drop that question on in there. Do you want to sell books or do? But see, they say they heal. They say that this is a part of the healing. It
And
doesn't
so,
look
and, and,
healed.
and so that's what I also want to
It
say.
don't feel healed.
It doesn't. It don't look like healed. It don't feel like healed.
It don't
But
sound like healed.
it's not for me to judge. But this is what I will say. I know that writing can be cathartic.
Hmm.
I know that writing can be therapeutic. But you know what else can be therapeutic? Therapy. And if you're getting therapy, if you are practicing some sort of spiritual beliefs, because they always own a healing situation, right? If you're doing all of these things, then I just don't know that we would have ever had the outburst that we had. And now you sitting up here talking about, and girl, I don't even know why hold a copy. I don't even know why he called me his wife because we ain't been talking like that for years. That ain't healed. A healed person ain't gonna be hollering at somebody that they mad and angry.
And why is she gonna say? Because you know that Chris, when he thought we was on the outs, he called me and asked me out on a date, girl.
Right. And I just heard about that today, but that was another thing. It's like, oh, she's saying, oh, this on some other beat, this some other shit that this is about. Well, if that's about some other shit that's years old,
It
then
ain't
that is not
healed.
healed, man. And I don't look. You want me to respect your privacy, then respect your own privacy. Like and for the life of me, if any, I wish Tupac's ghost would descend and say, "Keep my name out your effing mouth."
Mm-hmm.
Because, girl, this man is not here. He's
He is
not
not
here.
here. We don't have to. We do not. Because Tupac might say, "Well, actually, my soulmate was Kadada." How
Two,
about that? Tupac might say, "Actually, my soulmate was Left Eye, and both of us going to glory, and we having us a good old time over here on the other side." How
right,
about that?
Miss, I'm a soulmate, and we done live various lives together. Well, guess what? He might be living his life right now with Left Eye,
Yeah. He
and
might. God, Erica
somebody,
Badu talked about that next lifetime. Boo, that ain't that. That's not what's happening here.
well, like somebody said, not Tupac ain't never coming back now. Shoot, but I'm just like, I watched the Dear Mama documentary, and I will say again, and maybe I need to go back and watch it. I saw about Jasmine Guy and his relationship with Jasmine Guy. I saw that she was in it. She wrote his mama's she helped his mama write her autobiography. There was no Jada Pinkett Smith. We was all in love. We was in this deep. Y'all were in high school. And she says that it was on some, they soulmates on some friendship love. It was never chemistry
Right.
like that. Okay, cool. But if that's the case,
But how long was he there? And how long was Pac there, girl?
he didn't even graduate from that high
High
school.
school.
And here's the thing. And if it was on
Was he
some
there
love,
a year? I don't
he was there,
maybe a school year? One
he was
school
there
year?
for more than a year. But even if that was the case, even if y'all was on some friendship, love, chemistry situation, your husband, because you ain't getting a divorce, wrote about his insecurities over a ghost, a dead man. He wrote about those insecurities in a book. So it just feels like, why are we sticking the knife and turning it? You know, this is obviously a sore spot for him. Also, doesn't feel like healed. Why are you sticking the knife in and turning it? Your truth can be your truth. But at the end of the day, let's be honest. Y'all were young, y'all were children. And and y'all was on a different world together. I don't, for an episode, I do not believe that he took away from the relationship the same thing you took away from the relationship, sis. And I believe that that needs some healing still. Because at the end of the day, if it was on some friendship love situation, why are you talking about that knowing how that make your husband feel? So do y'all
Well,
want
if
to
it was
sell?
on some friendship love situation, why your husband felt he couldn't be friends with the man?
Right. So again, so if it's on, so the question that just keep coming up for me: do y'all want to sell books or do y'all want to be healed? Because here's the thing: this idea that, and then talk about the letter. Talk about the letter. Please talk about the
So
letter.
it's gonna come out tomorrow. So she's been on all the podcasts now. So she's on Jay Shetty's podcast, and he reads a letter to her that Will wrote about congratulating her, welcoming her to the authors club, and tells her, if he knew 30 years ago that she needed more hugs, he would have given her more
If she
hugs.
felt this way, he
If
would
she
have.
felt this way, he would have gave her more hugs, but he'll start giving her more hugs now. And,
Boy,
whatever.
give yourself a hug. Can you go look in the mirror and tell Lil Willie Smith you love him
Mm,
and that he deserves better than this?
mm.
Y'all could be cool. Y'all could be cool. But can you please, y'all churn this grown. I know it's cheaper to keep her. I know the money, but look how Jeff Bezos said for everyone that he lose, he bounced back with two. Jeff Bezos dropped that 75 billion and bounced back with 150. So if you, so it ain't about money. If you are not happy, if your spirit is not settled, if y'all are are in this existence and you saying it, you said you got tired of trying.
Hmm.
You got tired of trying to make your marriage work. Then get a divorce. I'm like Tabitha Brown. I believe in marriage, but I believe in divorce too. Now you could say what you want to from a Christian standpoint. I believe in divorce. Everybody don't belong together. And sometimes you give it the good college try. Y'all gave it a try. Y'all raised y'all children. Push on. Find some people that's gonna love you. But let's start with loving yourselves. Get some healing.
Well, like I said up top, I know the title of the book is worthy. I am not going to buy it. I am letting y'all know that right now. I am not going to buy it in the paper form. I am not going to buy it in the Audible form. I am not going to buy it, and I'm not going to listen to it. I'm going to watch some of these interviews, catch some of these clips from time to time when they come on, but I still see a seeking and a longing.
Yeah.
I don't see healed and whole. And obviously, the journey to wholeness is, and the journey to worthiness, it's a journey. Um, but we don't have to be on the journey with you.
No, like
And
many people said, take us out the group chat, please.
yeah,
Take us out the group chat. Y'all.
but like you also say, you can write, and writing is cathartic, and you could have left that be.
You could have left it like
What?
some Tupac songs and left it for us to catch after
Catch
you
later.
post it.
Exactly. Once you don't go on the glory, let that story come out. Let your children tell it later. And let them, you could have allowed them to take benefit of that bounty.
But speaking of the children, so I just would like to understand because clearly y'all have stayed together for these years, and your children, I'm sure, was a part of that decision. Do you feel like you're showing your children, you're demonstrating to your children what happy, healthy, and loving relationship should look like?
I think
When
they might think they are. Because you know what's also interesting to me, because I remember the first time, and now people have all their feelings and opinions, but I remember when Monique and her husband first came out and said we have an open marriage. And people got on Monique, but Monique was like, no, we have open marriage. We talk about everything. If you're gonna do this, did you keep me in mind? Did you keep me safe? Blah 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 blah. We open, but we in this together,
Mhm.
right? And I think that adults can have that type of conversation. I think that adults can have any type of arrangement that they want. And I think they can keep things within the context of that relationship to themselves. Um, and have NDAs and everything else that they need so that they can continue to go on and operating the way that they want to operate. So I believe that it is possible. And I believe that even in this situation, it is certainly possible. We have lived on two different sides of the house. I have my coming and goings. He has his coming and goings and what have you. But it's so very interesting that we never hear him talk about his stuff. Not like this.
Well, he
Um,
wrote a book too, but I ain't read that one either.
but not like this.
He wrote a book too.
He
I
did
ain't
write a
read,
book and he want to
I
sell
didn't read
his
the book
book. And
either,
again, but
because
again,
the question becomes, then the question
have
becomes,
you heard about any of the chicks?
no, but then the
No.
question
Or
becomes,
the dudes?
then
No.
the question becomes, when he wrote his book, was he writing about him or was he writing about her? Because she sounds like you titled it worthy, but it sounds like you spend a lot of time talking about him.
And not just him, everybody else.
Everybody but you. So maybe when he wrote his book, he was writing truly a memoir about his life and his experiences. With her, it's like, why you keep bringing this man? That's who you will. You tell her to keep your name out of her mouth. Because
Mm.
every time she does, it really makes you look like, damn, bruh. I mean, and I know he over there chilling, he on boats and stuff like that, but it just, oh Lord, that seemed like it's hard to live with somebody who keep talent, like it begins to feel like you're deliberately trying to hurt this person.
Well, earlier when we were talking about dignity and respect, it doesn't seem like honoring that other person's dignity and honoring who they are as a human being. And hey, he might be fine with it. But all we know is that his face didn't look fine on that red table talk. Because even if y'all had been living separate lives, he came there. You wanted, because that was supposed to be the place for honesty and truth. His face didn't look good then, and we ain't
His
seen
face
his
didn't
face, and
look
we not.
good at the Oscars.
No.
But maybe this is it. Maybe they had to lift all of that. Now they can be honest, because they did show on the Today Show. They did show a clip from her being on with Andy Cohen right after this time period where they were supposed to be separated. And it was like, how long have y'all been together? Oh, 23 years. Oh, how do you keep this longevity? I don't know. You were putting up a front, and that was serving you for a reason. And so I guess now all of this truth, honesty, vomiting it all up is serving you. So hopefully that lifts the weight that they need off their shoulders, and then hopefully we can all move on.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Child.
let's move off of this topic because we got to talk about cheesecake.
Girl, did you see this video? Now, I don't know. I woke up one day and my timeline was flooded with stuff talking about the Cheesecake Factory. I was like, what the hell done popped off at the Cheesecake Factory? And so then I finally watched the video.
And then
And
you
clear
had me watch the video.
and then I had you watch the video. And clearly to me, this is a skit, acted out video situation and scenario. But the premise is on TikTok, and we'll drop the link in there so y'all could go and watch it. The premise of it is that this woman and this man, they're going out on a first date, and he brings us to the Cheesecake Factory. And she was like, she wasn't getting out of the car because they were at the Cheesecake Factory and it was a first date, and how could he take someone who looked like her to the Cheesecake Factory, to a chain restaurant? So so many layers, so much foolery, so many comments, because this thing has millions, over 5 million views already, over, I think I said 88,000 comments on it. It's ridiculous. And yes, she acted a fool and looked stupid, and this is what Jada said. She wasn't even pretty. Girl, I don't know if she was pretty or petty or what, but clearly it was a skit because there ain't no way this happened in real life. Um, but let's talk about the Cheesecake Factory as a first date. I don't think what the issue was. I really don't understand, because even if you were gonna, Seasons 52 might be considered fine dining for some people. It's a chain restaurant.
Right.
Ruth Chris, Capital Grill, Eddie V's, all of those are chain restaurants. They're owned by large restaurant groups. They're all chains. Um, you know, so there are levels to this thing. There are levels to this thing. It's a mid-level fast food, not what is called, fast family
I
fast. I
don't
can't remember.
know.
I don't know what it's called, but look, they got food and they got cheesecake. What more can you ask for on the first date? I'm saying.
First of all, okay, let's step back.
What is it called? Not mid-value restaurant. What's it called? Mid-price? What's it
I
called?
don't know how it
Uh,
got about $2 signs when you go on the Yelp or something. I
yeah.
don't know. Listen, the bottom line is this. Number one, the man say he came to your house. Well, first of all, it was very Tubi television, so it felt very, very fake,
Yeah.
very, very poor acting. Like you said, when he got out of the car um to go and open her door, he would have had to leave his keys in. If he had left his keys in the car, and let me say it like this, then she would not have.
Casual dining restaurant chains. That's what they call a casual dining restaurant. Thank you. Had to Google that, girl. That was gonna vex me.
Gotcha. Anyway, the point is she got out the car, she locked the door. So I'm guessing he left his keys in the car because he would have just been able to unlock the door if he had it. I don't know. But anyway, he go over to her side. She's filming him like, I'm not getting out because you brought me to Cheesecake Factory, right? So he's like, okay, let's talk about it. So then he gets back into the car and they have a discussion about it. First of all, too much conversation. She don't want to be there, bring her home, or say, you know what? Thank you
But
very
no, thank
much.
you. I
I
really enjoyed this opportunity to get to know you.
Right, exactly. And you know what? In fact, I'm gonna call an Uber for you because it's probably best for us to go our separate ways right now. Yes. So that's the second part, Miss Jody. The man said he got there and he had to wait an hour for them to leave. So guess what, sis?
You would have been left.
Not only that, if you have been at a fine dining establishment, most of them require you to make the reservation.
And that's what he said. He had a reservation.
Right.
But since you was late, he had to go to fast casual. He had to go to,
Right.
casual dining.
Yes, he had to. That's also okay. Number two, he had to do that because you was an hour late. Number three, I'm sorry. I done seen the children go to prom at the Cheesecake Factory. What are you talking about? Like you was dressed to kill, like you had just walked off of a Paris runway. Girl, sit down. Sit down.
Just because you didn't have no clothes on up here and all your stuff was out, your breasts is,
You
it
had
is
a
Breast Cancer
strapless
Awareness
dress
Month.
on. You had a strapless
Well,
dress.
it had little straps.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, skinny strap dress. Yeah, this a skinny strap dress. Okay. And look, I don't know how long it was to the ground. It might have just been a maxi dress. I wear
It
that all the time. I
it
go to
might
the
it
grocery
didn't
store
it
like
didn't
that.
look maxi-ish.
The point
It
is,
looked body ish
even if it's bodycon, the children these days will wear bodycon dress to the schoolhouse.
to the grocery store.
Right. So I'm not understanding. What did you think you had on that was so
Fly.
high fashion, that you couldn't go into the Cheesecake Factory?
Mhm.
Okay, and all right. If you and clearly, let's call a spade a spade. I ain't trying to be rude, but maybe you gave off Cheesecake Factory vibes. Maybe
Listen, if I had a reservation somewhere, we were gonna miss that reservation. I had to go to the next
somewhere
thing
else.
that we
Right.
could get because
And
you
we
was
know
late.
cheesecake gonna get you in. Now you gonna sit there for an hour reading that long menu.
Gotta flip through now.
You got to come prepared.
But you already know what you're gonna get at the Cheesecake Factory. You
I'm gonna
pretty
get,
much know.
I'm gonna get some cheesecake.
Well, I'm gonna leave with some cheesecake, but let's hold on. Let me look up the menu right here because let's see. Let me look up this menu right here because there are certain things that you always get at the Cheesecake
You gonna
Factory.
get some pumpernickel bread?
Come on with the hot pumpernickel bread.
And
You're gonna get them little egg rolls as your appetizer.
yeah, right, right. I mean, the bottom line was the man met you. I don't know when y'all met. I don't know how long y'all have known each other. Again, he felt like you were
It
cheesecake.
was a first date.
It was a first date. Cheesecake Factory felt like it was right there. Um,
I
and
mean, I could
so
take some of Sheila's chicken and avocado salad. That would have been a wonderful little thing. Okay.
at the end of the day, in the beginning of the day, oh, I was so disgusted with this young lady because whether it was fake or it was real, it was one of those moments where I felt very much as a Black woman that here we go again, you participating in the tired tropes that suggest that we are
Difficult.
difficult.
Yes.
And that's what made me mad
Hmm. Yeah.
because And of course, and I mean, I'm just going to be honest. And the gentleman she was with was a non-black man, a man who would not consider himself black, I'm sure. So here we go again, where there's that whole element of, oh, she wouldn't have done that to her brother, or she wouldn't have acted like that with her brother. And I'm just like,
Can we do better?
yeah, yeah, can I
Can we
mean,
stop participating in the degradation
of black women.
of Black women?
Yeah.
Can we stop participating in the perpetuation of stereotypes?
By the way, Dimitri, I just want you to know our PA has said you can have a bodycon maxi.
Okay, bodycon maxi dress. I ain't seen to one, but okay, I got you, child.
The bodycon is the material; it's not necessary. The
The
like,
bodycon meant it was fitted, like body conscious,
yeah,
but
you can have a
okay.
fitted long dress down to the floor. But the bottom line is, sis, you know what could have done? You could have graciously gone to the Cheesecake Factory and had a nice meal and had a conversation and got to know a gentleman and said, you know what? It was nice. It was a nice meal, and I got to know a nice person. And there's no romance there, there's no connection,
And keep it
chemistry,
pushing.
and you could have kept it pushing. But then you wouldn't have 5.5 million views to this
Thank
video, and I wouldn't be talking about it. We wouldn't be talking about it. Everybody who has got something to say wouldn't be talking about it. And thus, your to be television career might not be taken off.
And
So,
the same thing you said about Jada Pinkett Smith in the book. Otherwise, if you wasn't out here, if you wasn't saying all this stuff, we wouldn't be talking about it. And there are people who are in pursuit and seeking fame and infamy at any cost versus a life of peace, dignity. I'm just leave it at that. That's all I got to say. And with that, what you want to tell the people in closing, girl?
I
It's
want to
still
say,
her birthday month. She's still celebrating. She just leaving the homecoming. She got a
yes,
few more things up her sleeve. So
and
she might be tired a few more Sundays. I'm just letting y'all know in
we won our
advance.
homecoming game. I'm very excited about that, and had a wonderful time. No, no, I just want to say in closing, you know what? I appreciate everybody who joined us tonight and got into these comments. And yes, I mean, you give off Cheesecake Factory vibes, and there's food. They got food and they got cheesecake. Hell of a motto. I love that one, Jessica. Yes.
And let's give a shout out to Jessica Kennedy Vickers, who is
Yeah.
viewing for the alpha class of the 40 under 40, the alpha cohort for the 40 under 40 at the Jackson State University. The I love, honey. Go ahead, girl. Go off on that 40 under 40 list. You and Christina both were in the inaugural 40 under 40 classes at your respective institutions. Unfortunately, Xavier started 40 under 40 after I had already turned 40. But I ain't mad though. They need to get to that 50 under 50 before it's too late.
At this
Damn.
point, we can do 70 under 70. Why not?
Damn, it's too late because I turned. Dang it.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
miss my chance again.
There it is.
Anyway, with that, we're signing off. Thank y'all for tuning in to Hey Sister. Please like, follow, share, tell folks about our show. Join us in the comments. Even when you're watching the replay, join us in the comments, and so we can come back and comment on on your participation in the show. But with that, we're signing off. Good night.